Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at Enemy Ace, War Idyll by George Pratt. This was a graphic novel published in 1992 by DC Comics, and it is quite a beautiful piece of work here. George Pratt kind of rose up during the 80s, assisting his good friends Kent Williams and John J. Muff on some of their projects, and then he started striking out on his own. They all had this very painterly style. They were kind of, after Bill Sienkiewicz kind of got the ball rolling, they were like the triumvirate of painted comics. They did all these projects for Marvel, mostly Marvel. And the weird thing was they were all best friends. And Scott Hampton, another great painterly artist from the 80s, one of the first to paint his comics. And they were all like best friends. They all knew each other. So kind of interesting. This is a really nice book. Just really beautiful stuff. I mean, it's like, 200 pages of painted art. So, of course, George Pratt does the cover. He does all the art in this. There's lots of beautiful little sketches in here. Pretty well designed. Yeah, there's so many little illustrations. We have an introduction by Joe Kubert, one of the co-creators of Enemy Ace. I mean, he's really Robert Kanigher, created Enemy Ace, but, Joe Kubert designed his look. And here's the dedication, and we start with chapter 1. Every chapter starts with a quote from either history or a poem, and they all have a beautiful painting. Love this 2-page spread. Seeing how the doughboys in the trenches saw Enemy Ace. In the comics, we just saw Enemy Ace flying up in the sky. We never saw the worm's eye point of view of Enemy Ace, the soldier's point of view, the grunts. Oh man, speaking of 2-page spreads, this is so amazing. This is how we start this off. And we start with this amazing dog fight, which is like most Enemy Ace comics. That was the bulk of the comic. I don't know if you've ever read Enemy Ace. He started in Showcase in the 60s at DC. And it was just a really great war comic. It was a little different than most. Just first of all, the hero was a German in World War I, a flying ace. And it was just it seemed more mature for some reason. I don't know. I have the collection, the archives of all the Enemy Aces. I just love that stuff. And of course, it's Joe Kubert art, so I love this page here. This little inset panel. All this negative space here. So we see the Enemy Ace just flying away from the earth. Little dream sequence type thing. And then we see an old man in bed. It's 1969 in West Germany. And someone's saying, Von Hammer? Herr Von Hammer? And it's the Enemy Ace. He's an old man now. He's in a hospital. Doesn't look like he's long for this world. He's pretty old. And I guess this reporter has been visiting him. Mr. Manic. And he's back for another session to interview him about, he claims that his magazine is running something on guys who have won medals of honor. Just look at this beautiful art. So Enemy Ace instantly can tell that this guy's a soldier. He can see it etched in his face. Turns out that Manic is a veteran of Vietnam. He's of the Vietnam conflict. On the TV, they're talking about Lieutenant Calley, the American soldier who killed civilians, committed war crimes. Man, look at this stuff. Such beautiful painting. They talk about the differences between, Vietnam and World War I. Excuse me. I love this page here. I like this little sequence of prose where he's talking about when he was a little boy, enemy ace. I should call him Von Hammer. Von Hammer knew a butcher who was the sweetest man he ever knew, even though he would slaughter like 50 lambs a day. But it was just, that was his job. And that was his attitude during World War I. He was known as the butcher of the skies, the hammer of hell. So we see flashbacks to World War I. All these guys congratulating him on his many kills, and he just doesn't want to hear it. Even though he's really good at killing, he's not proud of it, not happy with it. Basically, his only friend is this wolf in the woods. This was something from the original comic. Every few issues, when Enemy Ace was like on a leave, he would go out to his baronial estate, the woods around it, and hunt. And eventually befriended this wolf, and they'd go hunting together. God, it's a beautifully drawn wolf. They'd go hunting together, and basically Enemy Ace would talk to him like a friend, because they're both killers. So they understood each other. So I think this was put in just as a nod to the original comic. So Von Hammer gets tired, has to go to sleep, so Manic's going to come back the next day. I like this how when he goes to sleep at night, he sees the faces of all the guys he killed. He killed them in the prime of youth. And he can see their beautiful, sad, young faces. And he realizes that he's the defeated. They're the lucky ones, because they never got to grow old and get enfeebled. Some of these paintings are just so abstract and amazing. I'm not even sure what I'm looking at here, but it looks beautiful. Chapter 2. So Manic is reading up on World War I. I like this different style. Definitely different color palette. So now he's back interviewing Von Hammer. Yeah, the difference between the two generations here. Manic asks him, what did you believe in? Did you believe in your war? And Enemy says, I believed in honor. So now we show another flashback to 1917. Von Hammer is leading his crew in a snowstorm, which seems kind of crazy. And we've already found out from his narration that, he really wanted to take care of his flyers. Everyone who died was like a stab in his heart. So it's this very dangerous mission. The guns on the ground are shooting up flak, and then the English attack from above. And we get another amazingly painted dogfight scene. That is just crazy. Look at that. Joe Cooper would do this all the time. Also, Alex Toth was known for that, doing the great dogfight scenes where it's just like 40 planes all at different angles. Pretty amazing stuff. It's just pure chaos. It almost looks like an action painting by Jackson Pollock to show that it's just chaos up there. And Enemies does lose some of his guys. They're not as skilled as him. Enemies always seems to come out okay. Man, so this color choices here, just so beautiful to me. So interesting and so beautiful. He obviously has the ability to draw, like paint photorealistically, but so much different than someone like Alex Ross, where Alex Ross, that's all he'll do. It just stays photorealistic. But George Pratt will just totally change styles and add these different art styles that aren't just photorealistic, you know, beautiful painting. Oh, man. Sorry, this just looks really good. So there's a really dramatic dogfight. This just looks stunning to me. Just amazing. So Enemies, all his guys have died, and he crashes. He's not injured though. Rolls down and is caught in some barbed wire. And then once again, it's time for him to go to bed. So that's the end for today's session. Chapter 3. Once again, I'm not sure what I'm looking at here. And just the color choice here is totally different. Almost just like sepia, monochrome. So Manic is obviously having nightmares about Vietnam, these abstract images. And he's back to talk to Von Hammer. He basically admits to Von Hammer, he says, I'm not a journalist. I just wanted to talk to someone who knew what I've been through. And Von Hammer says, I know. And so now Manic tells his story, kind of what broke him in Vietnam. He was a tunnel rat in Vietnam. And his partner was a crazy cat. They were the veteran tunnel rats. And they're breaking in this new guy, Hughes, showing him the ropes. And they find they round a corner in the tunnel, they find a bunch of mutilated bodies of their fellow soldiers, guys who disappeared a little while back. And Crazy Cat loses it. He's just like, those son of a bitch, it's payback time. And a Vietnamese soldier just stabs him through the neck with his like bungee pole or something. As he dies, Crazy Cat shoots him in the head. And now it just turns into fucking crazy shootout. During the shootout, basically, Maddox finds himself behind Hughes, the new guy. And without even realizing it, I mean, he kind of realizes it, but he doesn't care. He's using Hughes as a shield, and Hughes is just taking all these bullets in. And finally, he's out of bullets, and it's just quiet. So I guess he killed all the VC. He's still alive. Hughes is definitely dead. And so it crawls out of the tunnel. So this is what's messed up Maddox so much, It's like he didn't consciously attempt to use as a shield, but he can't deny that when the battle was done, he was glad that it was Hughes instead of him, who got shot like 38 times and died. So he has this amazing guilt. When he comes out of the tunnel, there's a little trapdoor type thing, and he comes out right into a mass grave. So as if he wasn't traumatized enough by this experience, he comes out of this mass grave of freshly killed VC, and these two American soldiers think he's a VC come back from the dead, and they shoot him. They don't kill him, though. And so he's basically out of the war. He had to spend 10 months recuperating. And Enemy Ace tells him, he says, this is what we do in war. It's about survival. You know, you shouldn't feel bad. You shouldn't wish that you had died, because all the soldiers who died, your fellow soldiers, you know, you got to live for them. They don't want you to go on living. Touching moment here. I gotta say, sometimes the painting, I don't know. I mean, this is a lot of pages to paint, but some of these pages aren't nearly as good as the other pages, like this one. Look at this panel. Not very good compared to the luscious beauty of so many of the other ones. I think he was running out of steam. I don't think it's a different style. It's just not as good. I love this painting. Some great stuff. I know this is a weird thing to say because I have no evidence, but our correspondent and benefactor from Canada, Archibald Gernsback, is always mentioning Otto Dix, like when talking about World War I artists. And for some reason, I have this gut instinct that, is this trying to be Otto Dix, even though I've never seen Otto Dix? I have this strange feeling that this is this style that he employs in some of the paintings, which is obviously more, I don't know, almost surreal. I just suspect. So let me know in the comments, or the comments. Yes, this painting isn't nearly as good again. I mean, this was a huge project, and this is George Pratt's first real comic of any consequence. I think he's just done short stories up till now. So I guess I could forgive him for, he took on a little bit more than he could chew. So this stuff's a lot more sloppy than the first, 50 pages. So now Enemy Ace tells him a story he continues the story about when he crash landed on that winter eve. And here the art gets good again. I have a feeling he maybe painted this before that sequence. Poison gas comes out. He's got no mask, so he rips off some like cloth from his scarf and tries to put it around his face, hoping to it'll keep the gas out. But now we're back to the incredible, beautiful pages. And because the poison gas is almost an excuse for this to look abstract, because you can't really see everything because there's gas everywhere. This English soldier comes out of nowhere, and Hans von Hammer sees he's got a mask. So Hans von Hammer pulls out his knife, stabs him, and takes his mask. It's basically a battle to the death. But look at this here. Just all this, the gas. It just looks beautiful. So Enemy succeeds, takes the guy's mask, and kills him. Oh, God, this page. So amazing. Just those colors. Even if you blur your eyes, this looks beautiful in a design sense. Once again, I'll just try to shut up about how beautiful every page is. So basically, he's telling him this story to say, this is what war is about. This is what it is to be a soldier. when it comes down to it, it's about survival. He even admits that if one of my own soldiers had a gas mask, I might have done the same thing. I might have stabbed him and taken his mask. And so he wakes up from this because he kind of passes out from the struggle. And the battle continues when he wakes up. And he's, running, trying to get to this, to a shell hole. They're firing at him. Some really nice art here. Some more of the goodness. And he falls into a mass grave. A lot of mass graves in this comic. He sees an English soldier who's been buried alive. He's at the bottom of the pile saying, "Hey, I'm not dead." But he's going to be dead soon. Enemies pulls him out. He moves him out of the mass grave because the guy's like, "Just get me out of this grave, please." And another beautiful page. I just said I was going to not stop saying that. Sorry. But this is really nice. Of course, it's like typical war movie scene where he's like, "Tell my girlfriend I love her. I want to go home. Does my face look all right? I don't want my girlfriend to think I'm ugly now." And he doesn't realize how wounded he is and how he's not long for this earth. Enemies gives him a final cigarette. And the guy dies. And Enemy Ace is kind of learning a lesson. For him, the war was always this sterile world of fighting machines, not the rasping and tearing of flesh pitted against flesh. Because he's been up flying in his nice little, airplane, not seeing all the gore. When he kills someone, he doesn't even see them die. They just crash. Chapter 5. So good. I'm glad the good art is continuing. And this is a true story. So Enemy Ace says he sees something curious. All of a sudden, everyone stops shooting. The German commandant walks out of the trench and walks over to the English trench, talk to their commandant, and then everyone comes out of their trenches. And everyone starts pulling out bottles of rum and rations. And Enemy Ace is like, "What the hell's going on? Is the war over?" So he leaves his shell hole and walks towards the German lines. That's another great one. Oh, this is so nice looking. And it turns out this is the famous historical incident, Christmas Eve during World War I, where all the soldiers just said, "Fuck this shit." If the generals want to fight a war, they can fight it themselves. It's Christmas. And all the soldiers on both sides just agreed to play soccer together, share rations, have a nice meal. They all basically showed off photographs of their wives and kids to each other. Probably one of the most human moments in human history, in war, military history. I love this story. It's such a beautiful story, and it's true. It really happened. So we see all of the Germans and English just being chummy as hell. Who would have thought that just 2 hours before they were trying to kill each other? And the sad thing is the next day they'll be trying to kill each other again. But on this Christmas day, they said, "Nah, enough trying to kill each other. Fuck that. Let's just have a nice Christmas." Yeah, there's this English guy showing his wife off and kid. And this definitely moves Von Hammer. His faith in humanity is renewed for a little while. Oh, now we're back to the bad art. So I wonder if he waited to do these interview sequences to last, because he'd figured the least challenging, There's not much background, not much is happening, just talking heads. But he ran out of time or something. Von Hammer's talking about the one thing that sustained him was his love of flying. And he tells Maddox that you have to find one thing to sustain you that will let you live. He says, come back tomorrow. I'm going to leave the room. I'm tired of looking at these walls. And Maddox leaves. And actually starts typing up the article. Chapter 6, another amazing painting. And Eddie Mace is in his wheelchair outside, looking at the birds, of course. Of course he loves birds, because that's all he ever wanted to do was fly. And now he can't fly anymore. I love the look on his face here. It seems like the art's kicked up a notch, definitely for this part. He says, Maddox tells him, I finished my article. I want you to have it. I want you to read it. Enemy says, I won't have time to read it. But I was digging through my shit, and I want you to have this. And he hands him all of these papers. He says, they're yours now. That's so good right there. See, this is like what I'm talking about. Just complete, amazing, photorealistic painting. But then this is not photorealistic. This is just very expressionistic. Von Hammer tells him how he always has dreams of meeting death in a golden helmet. And in the dream, he turns around and sees all the warriors that he's killed. And then he sees the Valkyries coming for him, so he can have a warrior's rest. Maddox is looking at the journal that Von Hammer gave him. And 1914 to 1918 is his complete journals of his war experiences. So you can imagine this is pretty invaluable. His last words are, I'll always be a soldier, even to the end of the days. And he shuffles off this mortal coil. Dies right there in his wheelchair. Oh man, these next 2 pages. Just staring up at the sky, at the birds. Well, he's not staring anymore. His lifeless eyes are looking at them. This one right here, this whole, just amazingly beautiful. And that's it. We have acknowledgments where he thanks, he definitely thanks Kent Williams and John J. Muff and Scott Hampton, his painterly friends, but he thanks a lot of people. He did a lot of research for this book, interviewed Vietnam veterans. He even found some old World War I veteran, must have been 90 or something, or 100, and interviewed him for this. So he definitely put a lot of work into this. Look at this painting. That's pretty amazing. Yeah, this is the kind of art that I'm like, is this what Otto Dix looks like? I don't know. So here's the sketches. Just does a lot of beautiful sketches for this. And none of these are in the book or anything. He just, I guess just in his studies of World War I, he was inspired to do these, give himself a sense of the era. All of these are wonderful. More quotes, too, and excerpts from poetry. So nice. It's such a shame that George Pratt, kind of gave up comics. He's a very successful gallery artist, from what I've heard. A bunch of galleries sell his work all across the world. And so he doesn't have to do comics. I like this quote from Adolf Hitler, but that's what the young men are there for. Speaking of war. Oh man, this one. I really like this. That's really impressive. There's a picture of George Pratt, a little mini bio. And, oh, we get one more beautiful little painting. And on the back cover, too. So there you have it, guys. Enemy Ace, War Idol by George Pratt. I don't know if this is still in print. I don't think it would be that expensive, though. I don't think anyone really cared about this. It was, people liked it, obviously thought it was pretty art and stuff, but I don't think it sold well. It wasn't like, hard to find. So I wouldn't be surprised if you go to a used bookstore, you'll find this for nothing. So I hope you guys enjoyed looking at it. I think this is just a treat for the eyeballs. I was, I haven't picked this up off my shelf in 15 years or something. And I was actually blown away today, flipping through it, rereading it again. Some of these, I turn the page and I'd just be like, whoa, just gasping because some of these pages are so beautiful. So hope you liked it half as much as I did. And I hope to see you here next time at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.